मदात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। वन्दे बरसाना नन्दां रंगीली महल वासिनी। नमः कमलना भाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमल पादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वं हा देवमात्म बुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Divine souls, let's now chant the holy name for a few moments while doing Roop Dhyan. So let's close our eyes in meditation on Sri Radha and Krishna. As we chant Bhajo Giridhar Govind Gopala, please follow after me. Bhajo Giridhar Govind Gopala,
Bhajo Giridhar Govind Gopala,
Bhajo Giridhar Giridhar Govind Gopala,
Bhajo 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 Giridhar Govind Gopala, भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला
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 भजो गिरिधर गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला
भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला
भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला
भजो गिरिधर गोविंद
Everyone please sing as well.
गोपाला
भजो गिरिधर गोविंद 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 गोपाला
भजो मोर मुकुट मुरली वाला
भजो मोर मुकुट मुरली वाला
भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला
भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला गोविंद गोपाला
भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला
भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला
भजो वृंदावन, बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की
जय
श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की
जय।
Now I humbly request your full attention as we learn more about Thanksgiving. On this day of Thanksgiving, we have a lot to be grateful for. When someone does us a favor, we give our thanks. We feel grateful, we experience gratitude. Even if someone does a tiny favor for us, we feel thankful. Then how much more thankful we should be feeling towards God, who has given us unimaginable gifts. The greatest gift that God has given to us and that we are most grateful for is this life. And not only life, but life as a human. Perhaps we don't reflect on this as much as we should. How fortunate we are to be born human. This life is not to be taken for granted, but it's our nature. That even if we are given something very precious, we tend to take it for granted. But when we lose that object or that thing or that person or that personality, then we realize, oh, what did I have and how unfortunate I am that I didn't value this amazing grace, this amazing gift that I had. Human form of life. Even Devtas in Swargalok are praising this form of life. They ask God, they beg God for the opportunity to become human, if only just once. Gayanti Deva Kila Gita Kani Dhanyastu Ye Bharat Bhumi Bhage. Many human beings worship Devtas. They perform yagyas, what we call havan these days. Havan, yagyas. They give ahuti, they give offerings to devtas such as Indra, Varun, Kuber. They want to please these devtas so that these devtas may give them wealth, grandeur, this and that. But the same devtas are looking upon us with envy. They are envious of us. And look at these humans, how fortunate they are. They can strive towards God realization, whereas we cannot. These devtas are thinking, we have so much more knowledge than these humans, and yet we do not have the privilege of knowing God. But they do. Our actions don't bear fruit, but the actions of these humans, they do bear fruit. Avashyameva bhoktavyam kritam karma shubha shubham. Every action, good or bad, will bear fruit. It has a consequence. And devtas want that gift. They have the knowledge. They can practice devotion to God, but that devotion will not amount to anything. It will bear no fruit. We humans, our actions, each and every action will bear fruit. Each and every action. no matter how trivial it will bear fruit. Every time we utter the name of God with feeling while doing Roop Dhyan, that every moment it's being accumulated. Devotion is being accumulated. Make no mistake about it. This is why Jagat Guru Uttam, Shri Kripaluji Maharaj, my beloved Gurudev, and Gurudev to so many of you, Shri Maharaj Ji used to say, if you have 10 minutes free in the day, then go ahead and do Roop Dhyan, practice devotion. You have 5 minutes, you have nothing to do, go ahead and practice Roop Dhyan. You have a whole hour. Let's say you're going on the subway train, or you're going on the bus, or you are in your car. Then go ahead and use that time in which to accumulate devotion. Because every moment that you are thinking about God, that is one moment of devotion that you have done, and it all gets accumulated. So we have been given the human form of God, for which we must be very thankful. But you know, we are human after all, and we have an intellect which is very advanced. So we think, we have a mind, we have an intellect, man and buddhi, which are very, very developed. So we think, using this mind, why should I be thankful to God for this body, for this human body, human birth? Because I have read in the Ramayana, Tulsikrit Ramayana, that Bade bhag manush tanu pava sur durlabh sadgranthani gava. It is your great fortune that has brought you the human body, that has put you in this human form of life. Your great fortune, meaning you have performed actions that are now bearing this reaction that you are born human. So it is because of your previous actions that you are now born a human. You have practiced devotion in the past. You have performed such great actions, as a result of which you have received the human form of life. You were not born in the body of a dog, a cat, a donkey, a mosquito, hippopotamus, a tree, a worm. You were born in the human form of life. There are 8,400,000 forms of life. 84 lakh. 1 lakh is 100,000, 84 is 84. So 8,400,000 forms of life. Scientists are discovering different forms of life. And there are articles in various publications. When we read them, we say, oh, really? They have discovered 20 new species in New Zealand. They're not new. We just didn't know about them. They were already here. They're not new in the sense they didn't exist and suddenly they're existing. No. They were always here. And the Vedas and Vedic scriptures have been telling us in a trumpet voice, look, there are 8.4 million forms of life. And we say, no, I don't think so. And then we start discovering, oh, okay, maybe, but not 8.4 million. Oh, then we discovered some more, and some more, and some more. Material science is millions, trillions of miles behind spiritual science. God has told us in the scriptures that there are 8.4 million forms of life. And out of all of those, our scriptures tell us that human form of life is the best. It's the most coveted form of life. It's the most desirable form of life. It is the most enviable form of life. नाथ मोहि निज सेवक जानी सप्त प्रश्न मम कहु बखानी. Garuji is asking Kagbhushundi ji, my lord, I have 7 questions that I would like to ask. May I? Yes, you may. me. Sabte durlabh kavan sarira. Which is the most difficult form of life to secure? And the answer given was, Naratan sam nahi kavani udehi, jeev charachar jachat jehi. It is indeed the human form of life, and this form is desirable by every other form of life. All other creatures wish to be born human. So we belong to a very exclusive club. There are only 8 billion humans inhabiting planet Earth right now. And in contrast, there are so many more other creatures. Some of them are microscopic. We cannot see them. The naked eye cannot see them. We need microscopes to be able to see them. They're so small. But they are living creatures. So we are likely to think that we got this human form of life because of our own actions. Then why should we be grateful to God? Well, the same Ramayana that says, Bade bhag manush tanu pava, says, Kabahu kakari karuna nar dehi, det ish binu hetu sanehi. It is through the grace of God that you have attained this human form. God, who is causelessly merciful, gives, very rarely, He gives the greatest gift of the human body to some rare soul. Kabahu kakari, kabahu kakari. Not frequently, very rarely does He give the human form of life as the greatest of all gifts. So now we are again using our human intellect. We are thinking, well, did I earn this human form of life, or did God grace me and gave it to me? How can I make sense of this? Tulsidas ji is making two different statements. So the answer is that it is both. We performed actions as a result of which we became human, but please consider this fact that actions by themselves are insentient. They are jad. They cannot convert themselves into reactions. An action does not convert itself into a reaction by itself. So we performed the actions, then God took note of those actions. Every time we practiced devotion, every time we did something worthwhile, every time we gave charity, every time we thought about God, God took note every single time. And then He gave us the fruits of those actions. We cannot take God out of this equation. We are performing actions, and they're just being accumulated. And God does not come into the picture. God does not give us fruits of our actions. What good will that do to us? Our actions will just remain actions. They will not turn into consequences. They will not bear fruit. So it is indeed with the grace of God that we have received this amazing form of life, the most amazing form of life, the human form of life. So we ought to be infinitely grateful to God for what He has given to us. Not only has He given us this human form, but consider the mind that we have been given. The mind. It's an incredible thing. Our mind is an incredible tool that has been given to us. It must be safeguarded. We must take proper care we must take good care of this mind, because this mind is the most powerful vehicle God has given to us. It is the most powerful tool, the most effective tool that God has given to us. Using this mind, countless humans have attained God realization. They have attained the same powers as God by surrendering to God. Countless of our own fellow humans, countless fellow humans have received the ultimate grace of God. They have reached God, and they are now dwelling in the abode of God. They're living in the divine kingdom of Sri Krishna, Golok. They're living in God's kingdom. They have the same powers as God because Janat tumahi, tumahi ho jai. As Saint Tulsidas says, when you attain God, you become just like God. God gives his ultimate gifts to the one who surrenders to him. He gives unlimited knowledge to the one who surrenders. He gives unlimited bliss to the one who surrenders. Our mind is a wonderful thing. God has given this to us. If it were not for this mind, we could not have attained God realization. We couldn't have fulfilled the ultimate aim of life. Now, other creatures have a mind and an intellect also. Even a tree? Even a tree. Seriously? Yes. The Vedas are saying, yes, seriously. Trees and plants, they are creatures. Let's say you go into a park and the park has very lovely flowers there, and it's just a beautiful park. Now you feel so happy going to the park. Look at the colorful flowers and look at the arrangement. It's a beautiful park. But do you know those flowers, those plants there, they're also happy looking at you. They feel happy looking at you. They have a mind. They have an intellect. It's very small, but they have it. And then there are insects, worms and insects. Their intellect is further developed. Then there are birds. Their intellects are even greater, the more advanced. Then there are animals. They have an even greater intellect. Then there are some animals that have greater intellect than others. All of them, all living creatures have a mind. But even the most intelligent animal is no match for even the most dull-witted human in existence. Think about it, even the most intelligent animal is no match for even the dullest intellect of a human. Our intellect is so developed, and God gave it to us. We didn't ask him for it. We didn't pay him for it. He just gave it to us. He loves us. Of course, he loves all creatures. Tulsidas ji has said in the Ramayana, in the words of Bhagwan Shri Ram, सब मोहि प्रिय सब मम उपजाए, सब ते अधिक मनुज मोहि भाए. All living creatures are my children, and therefore all of them are very dear to me, but at the same time, I love my human children the most. Sab te adhik manuj mohi bhai. I love my human children the most. He loves us so much that he gave us this very developed intellect. Sri Maharaj Ji often used to say, Akhir tum manushya ho, you're a human after all. Try to understand what I'm trying to say. ये बात समझिए, आखिर आप मनुष्य हैं, बड़े बुद्धिमान होने का दावा करते हैं, आप बुद्धि का प्रयोग कीजिए. Sri Maharaj used to say, you're a human after all, so use your intellect to understand what I'm saying to you. And he used to explain, he would explain concepts in such a way that even we dull-witted humans could understand, and he would say, Gadhe ki akal se samjho. And people, we were very amused. A lot of people were very amused. Maharaj Ji saying, understand with the intellect of a donkey. Not really, Maharaji was saying, understand in layman's language. Even if you don't understand anything of the scriptures, I'm going to make you understand this. So, we are infinitely grateful to God. We ought to be infinitely grateful to God for the human form of life and for the mind that has been given to us. Next, we are grateful to God. We are very grateful to Sri Krishna for the Vedas, the 4 Vedas that have been provided for us. Nishvasitamasya Vedaha. These Vedas, Rig Ved, Yajur Ved, Sam Ved, Atharva Ved, there was one Ved, and then Vedavyasji divided God in the form of Vedavyas, divided one Ved, and it became 4. Rig, Yajur, Sam, Atharva Ved. And they are manifested from the natural breath of God. Jaki sahaj shwas shruti chari. The 4 Vedas, the infallible knowledge, godly knowledge, divine knowledge, perfect knowledge, knowledge in which there are no mistakes, that needs no editing, nothing. It is perfect. It was perfect 5 million years ago. It is perfect now. It was perfect in Satyug. It is perfect in Kali Yuga. Even at the end of Kali Yuga, it will be perfect. Then Satyug will start, and the 4 Vedas will be manifested. They will be revealed again. And always, 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 this knowledge is perfect knowledge. God gave us knowledge because here we are as humans, we have this superior intellect, but then we don't know what to think. We don't know what to think. So God says, I'll give you knowledge. We would be in dark, we would be in complete darkness. But God, by giving us Vedas, gave us light, the light of knowledge. The Vedic knowledge, it's not man-made. Humans did not become involved in it. Vedavyasji wrote down the Vedas 5,000 years ago, because 5,000 years ago, when Kali Yuga started, then Bhagwan thought that, and rightly so, that people of Kali Yuga will have very short memories. They will have, their intellect will be very small. So I need to write all this down. I need to get this written down. So he came to earth in the form of Vedavyas. He wrote down the Vedas 5,000 years ago. But they have existed since beginning this time. There was never a time when the Vedas did not exist. They existed when the concept of time did not exist. They have always existed. That perfect knowledge. We have been given that knowledge, but we don't understand it. We don't understand it. There's so much worldly knowledge that we don't understand. We have studied, let's say you have studied science and math, or you've studied languages, you've studied arts or sciences, you've studied engineering. Now, how many people remember after graduating university, after graduating college, how many people really retain the knowledge that they have acquired in those 4 or 5 years? How much knowledge? Small fraction. We tend to forget. And then there's so much we don't understand. We never understood it, and unless we put a lot of time in trying to understand it, we will never understand it. And this is divine knowledge that God has given to us in the Vedas. So to make us understand what the Vedas are saying, God sends his messengers. He sends the divine teachers. The divine teacher known as the Guru. Gushabdastandhakarasyat rushabdastannirodhakah andhakara nirodhitvat gururityabhidhiyate. Dvayopanishad says, the word Guru means Gu plus Ru. Gu means darkness, And Ru means remover. Guru is remover of darkness. Darkness is ignorance. So he removes the darkness of ignorance from the mind, and he brings light of knowledge into the mind. That divine teacher, Guru, God sends him to earth. And sometimes God himself comes down to earth in the form of a guru. Gauranga Mahaprabhu, 500 years ago, only 500 years ago, Sri Radha and Krishna, they took the form of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and he became guru to many. But he was God, God in the form of a guru. And the 5 Jagat Gurus we've had, Adi Jagat Guru Shankaracharya, the first one, until the 5th one, Jagat Guru Uttam Shri Kripaluji Maharaj. These Jagat Gurus, make no mistake about it, God himself comes down to earth in the form of a Jagat Guru. There is a Guru, then there is Jagat Guru. Who else, who can have this formidable knowledge through which these Jagat Gurus have revolutionized the spiritual world? Only God. God alone. Only God can come down to earth, let's say in the form of Adi Shankaracharya. Bhagwan Shankar came down as Adi Shankaracharya. Ashtavarshe chaturvedi dvadashe sarvashastravit Shodashe kritavan bhashyam dvatrinshe munirabhyagat. At 8 years of age, he knew the 4 Vedas. He was only 8 and he knew the 4 Vedas. At 12 years of age, he knew all the Shastras. At 16, he was writing bhashyas. He was writing commentaries on scriptures. And at the young age of 32, he left this world, after having accomplished so much. Saints, scholars, one scholar after the other, challenged him to a debate, and each and every one of them, one by one, accepted him as the guru. And then there was no scholar left, and they all bowed to him and they said, "You are Jagat Guru. Your knowledge is unlimited. We combined are no match for you." That was Adi Shankaracharya. We did not know Adi Shankaracharya. We don't remember. We may have seen him. Great possibility that we saw him 2,500 years ago. But we certainly may have seen him, may not have seen him, but we do know that many of us have had darshan of the 5th Jagat Guru, Jagat Guru Uttam Shri Kripaluji Maharaj. His knowledge, incredible, unimaginable. Without having a guru and without having much formal education and never having studied the Vedas and Vedic scriptures, he knew them all. His teachers, when he was very young, his teachers said to him, "Please, we cannot teach you anymore. We cannot teach you. We have nothing to teach you. You can teach us, so you don't need to be in the classroom." 500 greatest scholars of scriptures bowed before him and said, "We cannot challenge you. If you were a human, we could have challenged you, because we, scholars of Kashi Vidvat Parishad, we have so much knowledge, combined knowledge, that we can challenge Saraswati and Brihaspati. But we cannot challenge you. You are not of this world. Saraswati and Brihaspati are from Swargalok, but you are divine. And we humbly say to you that you are not just Jagat Guru. You are not just the 5th Jagat Guru. You are the best of all Jagat Gurus who have graced this earth. You are Jagat Guru Uttam." So Jagat Gurus, all the 5 Jagat Gurus who have graced this earth, they were God's avatar. They were avatars of God. God himself came down as Jagadguru. God sends down his messengers. And sometimes he comes himself in the form of a guru. Because we cannot understand the Vedas. We cannot. We will read the scriptures and we will misinterpret them, and this happens all the time. Sri Maharaj gives a very humorous example of 3 men sitting under a tree. And they were all from different walks of life. One was a grocer, one was a wrestler, and one was doing some job, but he was a great devotee of God, devotee of Bhagwan Sri Ram. So these 3 were friends, and they were sitting under a tree, relaxing, and perched on a branch of the same tree that they were sitting under, there was a bird chirping very sweetly, singing a very sweet song. These 3 friends interpreted the singing of that songbird. And one of them said, listen, this bird is incredible, but the bird is saying, Sont mirch adrak. Sont is ginger powder. Mirch is chilies. Adrak is fresh ginger. Because he was selling all this. So he said, it's incredible. The bird is saying, Sont mirch adrak, Sont mirch adrak. The next one said, no, you're mistaken. My friend, you're mistaken, because I can hear clearly. The bird is saying, Dand Baithak Kasrat. Dand Baithak Kasrat. Sit-ups, push-ups, exercise. That's what the bird is saying, because he's a wrestler. That's what he does all day. He's a bodybuilder. So that's what he heard. The third one said, I beg to differ. I think that the bird is saying, Sita Ram Dashrath, Sita Ram Dashrath, Sita Ram Dashrath. Because this is a devotee, and he's hearing the bird saying Sita Ram Dashrath. Now, what is the bird really saying? We don't know. The bird knows and God knows. But these 3 people hearing the same bird have 3 interpretations. Now imagine everyone in the world reads a scripture. Bhagavad Gita, let's say, for example. Now, most people don't read the Vedas. They're very rare ones. But Bhagavad Gita, many people read it in the translated form, and some of them know Sanskrit, so they read it. But how many people have understood it, like Arjun? How many Arjuns have there been who have understood the Gita? Everyone reads it and extracts his or her own interpretation. Everyone reads, so many people read the Ramayana and they take out the lesson that suits them. Husband and wife, a couple, they read the Ramayana, and the husband says to his wife, you know, I read the Ramayana, and she said, I have also. So he said, now I have understood the lesson, the greatest lesson from the Ramayana, and that is that you, as my wife, you should be like Sita. In other words, you need to improve yourself. You should be like Sita. She said, that's funny, that's not what I understood. What I've understood is that you, as my husband, you should be like Ram. So he may be conducting himself like a real Ravan at home. She may be like Shurpanakha, or some other, she may be like a demoness, but she wants him to be like Ram, he wants her to be like Sita. Because we extract the lessons that suit us. Once I was giving a talk somewhere, and I made the mistake of mentioning World War II. Just one sentence. It had to do with, somehow it fit into devotion. And after the talk, after the lecture was over, I asked, are there any questions? And a gentleman said, yes, I do have a question. Didiji, you talked so much about World War II. I said, I don't know anything about World War II. I don't wish to know. I'm not a World War II buff. No, he said, you talked about it. I said, I merely mentioned the words World War II. I didn't talk about it. Because he was so interested in World War II. that he thought that I talked about World War II. That's all he understood from my lecture. Then I have to tell you another humorous anecdote. I remember this was in Mississippi somewhere, in a temple. And I was singing, Lakhon mehfil jahan mein, yun to teri mehfil si mehfil nahi hai. And everybody there, all the devotees there had a paper with the Hindi, English meaning, so they were all singing after me. So in the verse, beautiful verse, I was singing, Prem mein hai sada dena dena, sochna bhi nahi kuch hai lena. That in true love, when you really love God, you only think about giving and giving, serving, and never thinking you've served enough. Just go ahead and give and give and give. Don't ever think about taking, oh, I want this from God, I want this, I want Him to fulfill this desire and that desire. So if you do that, then you're not practicing love. True love means that you never think of taking, you only want to give and give. To give and give, that is what love, that was the message. So a gentleman who was blessed with a very loud voice was singing, Prem mein hai sada lena dena. He changed the meaning. He said, love means give and take. So Maharaji has said, love means to give and give. So this gentleman is listening to me, but he's hearing that love means to give and take, because that is in the brain, that's in the mind. That love means to give and take. You love the person who loves you back. You're not going to be foolish enough to love someone who doesn't love you back. So the same thing goes with God. It means lena dena, that I give you my devotion, you give me money. You give me a good job. You give me a child, give me this name and fame and this and that. So we extract the lesson from scriptures, the lesson that suits us. That's it. So how are we going to know what is in the Vedas? What is the real message, the authentic message? For that, a guru is essential. We are eternally grateful to God for providing us a guru, a divine messenger of God, a divine teacher who looks like a human, but there's nothing ordinary about him. It could be a he, it could be a she. But that guru does not look anything other than a human. He's come in the human form. But when we go deep inside, when we look at really what he's like on the inside, then we find that he is divine. And how can we tell? We cannot enter someone's heart and tell what that person is all about. How can we detect the divinity in a guru that God has sent to us? And then God graces us further by telling us in the scriptures how to recognize a saint. For instance, in the Bhagavad Puran, Bhagwan Shri Krishna says, Vagadgada dravate yasya chittam rudatya bhikshnam hasati kvachiccha vilajya udgayati nityate cha madbhakti yukto bhuvanam punati. Shri Krishna says, when you see someone who has so much love for me that he cannot contain that love, and that love comes gushing out of him in various forms, when you see him singing with full abandon, when you see him dancing, and he is completely oblivious to who is watching him and who is around him, when he sometimes cries for me thinking that I am not near him, that I have gone away from him, sometimes he laughs experiencing that I'm right next to him, sometimes he starts singing, sometimes dancing, sometimes he loses consciousness. Such a personality is so divine, so great, that the entire world, the entire earth is sanctified by his mere presence. That is a guru who tries to hide his love for God, because it is a nature of the great ones to be humble. A tree laden with fruits, it always, the branches hang very low. It's humbling itself. So the great ones are very humble. They don't go around bragging like, I am so-and-so, and listen to me, I know so much. It's not like that. They are very humble. They don't go around proclaiming that they are saints. But when you spend some time in their association, there comes a time when the love for God that they try to hide within the heart, it comes gushing out of them with full force. Because when you try to control that love, it builds up in the heart, it builds up and builds up, and then it cannot be contained anymore. Then it will come out with full force. And then that true devotee of God will start to cry. He will cry profusely. There are certain symptoms that we can see on his body. His complexion becomes pale. He cries profusely, complexion becomes pale, he starts to tremble. There are certain symptoms that when we see them, we can tell, that's, I've heard his philosophy. I have been profoundly impacted, and I have asked questions. I have no doubts left. I have the answers. Now he has told me how to practice devotion. Now I'm seeing him in this state of bhavavastha. And the scriptures tell us how to recognize a saint. The very first thing they say is have humility, be humble. You cannot understand a saint, you cannot recognize a guru by yourself. God will step in, he will grace you, and he will make you understand that this is a guru. But be humble, be genuine. So the fact that God sends a guru to earth, that is an amazing grace of his, for which we must be eternally grateful. We need to think about all this. We need to reflect on all this, on what we have been given. We live very busy lives, no doubt, and we pride ourselves on that. I am very busy. This state of busyness, we wear it we wear it proudly. This hat we wear, that I'm so busy. So many people say, I'm so busy I have no time for my family. Wow, wonderful. I'm so busy that I have no time to even relax. How great. You really succeeded in life. I'm so busy running my business that I don't know where I'm going, where I'm going, where I'm coming. I don't know, I just eat something, whatever. It's just life is busy, busy, busy. You say time for God, I have no time for God. And there are many, many people in the world who feel very proud of being very busy. Too busy for God. Too busy to think about the important questions, the most important questions. Who am I? What is my aim in life? How will I get there? And as Sri Maharaj Ji said in the morning, and every day we're watching now, we will be watching, Main kaun, mera kaun? Who am I? Who is mine? Who am I? Who is mine? If we're so busy, there's no time to think about these questions. So we need to have some time in which we think about these matters, including matters of gratitude. I'm so grateful to God for giving me everything that I have. This human birth, a very advanced mind, a mind with which I can think about God and the higher truths of life. A mind that can think not only about food and shelter and procreation and all that, but it can think about what is truth, what is the purpose of life, how to control the mind. With my mind, I can think about how to control the mind. What a wonderful mind I have. God has given me the Vedas, the 4 Vedas, this impeccable knowledge, pure knowledge. And then Guru, who can explain this to me, who has explained all this to me. We have so much to be grateful for. We often say thank you. In North America, we say thank you a lot. When we go to India and we say thank you, people say, they took offense. Why do you say thank you? Why are you being so formal? Sri Maharaj used to say thank you, sorry, please. These are words you say just out of habit. There is no sentiment behind them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry, sorry. But Maharaj used to laugh at these words. And he would humorously say, thank you. Because we are so used to saying these words. Whether we say these words or not, we must feel the gratitude. We must shed tears of gratitude for these amazing gifts that God has given to us. And the best way to show the gratitude is to use these gifts. See, God does not need anything from us. He does not need anything from us. He's happy when we are going on the right track. He loves us selflessly. So the best thing that we can do is to use these gifts that God has given to us. By doing so, we can bring our life, we can bring our human life to a successful conclusion. We can live our life like a human should live life. We can live like humans. We can live a balanced life. Yes, I have to take care of my body. People say, papi pet ka sawal hai. Yeah, we have a stomach, we need to feed it. Yes, people say, I need to work. Yes, sure, go ahead and do that. But add devotion to it. That's all that is being told to us by the scriptures. The philosophy that Sri Maharaj Ji has taught to the entire world is that of Karma Yoga. Do your duty, but bring God significantly into your life. Not just like bring God into your life. Oh, yeah, I do that. I have brought God into my life. How? Well, in the morning when I'm about to go to work, I have this little cupboard in which I keep a photo of God. I open it and I go like this, Jai Ho, Jai Ho, Jai Ho. I have a little bell and I ring it and I say Jai Ho, Jai Ho, and I go off to work. When I come back after 8 hours or so, I open that little cupboard and I say Jai Ho, Jai Ho, Jai Ho, and I close the cupboard. That's my devotion. I bring God into my life. Not like that. But significantly, spending time with God. Spending time with God. Spending time doing Roop Dhyan. Spending time thinking about the graces of God. We need to reflect. The best thing to do is to reflect on the graces of God every single day, so that we may never take them for granted, so that we may have a very enriched life, so that we may live a very fulfilling life, a balanced life, so that the next life is also taken care of. In the next birth, we must think, where am I going? Where am I going? Where will I be born? What form of life will I be born in? Well, we want at the very least to be born human. We want to be born human. We don't want to be demoted. We definitely don't. So for that to happen, we need to be very mindful of everything we have been given, and also we need to use the graces of God, all the gifts that God has given to us. And that is when we will truly be celebrating Thanksgiving. We will be giving thanks, heartfelt thanks to our Creator, to Sri Krishna, for all that He has given to us and for all that He continues to give us, for everything He does for us very, very quietly, very, very silently. बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे।